Hello and happy new year. It is officially 2024, so of course a new year means new possibilities, new potential for some new 5-star reads. Today I am consulting my crystal ball and I will be predicting my 5-star reads for the year. I picked out 8 books that I plan on reading this year that I think have the potential to be 5 stars from me. I have a pretty wide variety of genres and book types, so hopefully at least one of these will actually be 5 stars, but I'm interested to know if you've read any of these. Were they a 5-star read for you? If not, then let me know one of your 5-star predictions in the comments below. The drink of the day is piping hot coffee in my beautiful and perfect cat mug. Cheers. And the song of the day is Can't Help Myself by Alexandra Xavier. Alexandra Xavier is probably my favorite artist right behind Taylor Swift, and that is high praise. And with that, let's go ahead and get into it. I have 8 books here, and only one of them is a 2024 release. I looked through as many 2024 releases as I could to see like what stood out to me, and there's a few things that I want to read, but there's only one that I'm like, okay, I want to read this and it has a high possibility of being 5 stars for me, and that would be Come and Get It by Kiley Reid. Kiley Reid is the author of Such a Fun Age, which I believe was her debut novel, and I read that one and absolutely loved it. I've been waiting for her to put out a new book. Come and Get It follows a girl, I believe her name is Millie. She's in college at the University of Arkansas, and she's trying to graduate and get on starting her life and her career. But some, I don't know, new professor or just a professor comes into her life, and I think they form some weird bond. Don't really know the details, but I know it has to do with money and like bad behavior. Literally don't know. Could be anything. And honestly, I don't know much more than that, but it sounds very intriguing, and I think Kiley Reid is an incredible writer, so high hopes for that one. And then the only other book, which I don't have a physical copy here with me, was a 2023 release, and that would be Paris the Memoir. In case you didn't hear about this one, this is Paris Hilton's memoir. I think it kind of just goes through her life and kind of explains what was going on behind the scenes. I do know a little bit about her life. I know she lived in some crazy boarding school or something of the sorts. And I've always been really intrigued by Paris Hilton, about the perception of her in the media and what the truth is. So I'm really excited to dig into that memoir, and I think I'm gonna love it. I actually just read Minka Kelly's memoir, Tell Me Everything, and oh my God, 5 stars. I couldn't have predicted that because who knew? And I already read it this year, but it was my first 5-star read of the year. It was just so incredible, and now I can tell I'm on a memoir kick, so I think Paris Hilton will be the next one that I get into. So all of the next books are ones that I currently have on my shelf that I've been meaning to read for quite some time, but for whatever reason, the universe has spoken to me, and 2024 is their year, most likely. As we all know, I tend to not read the books that I put into a TBR, so I'm not necessarily calling this a TBR, so maybe it won't like curse me, but yeah, I'm intending to read these books that have been on my shelf this year, and I think these all have the potential to be 5 stars. So the first one is Book of Night by Holly Black. I don't know much about this one. It came out a few years ago, and I got it, I think, on release day. For whatever reason, it just wasn't ever time for me to read it, but now I am itching to get into it. This is Holly Black's first adult fantasy novel, and I know it has something to do with like shadow magic. Certain characters can manipulate shadows, something like that. But it sounds very intriguing to me, and I am the biggest fan of Holly Black. Anything she writes, I will read, even if it just takes me a few years to get to it. I always just want to make sure I'm in the right headspace to fully enjoy it. So, Book of Night. Next up, we have The Martian by Weir. This one also came out a while ago, and I've had it on my shelf for a few years, but haven't gotten around to it yet. The Martian follows this astronaut who is sent to Mars, and I don't know exactly what happens, but I know he gets stuck there, and the book is about him trying to get off Mars, but also somehow alert his crew that he is still alive. I believe the whole thing is that they believe he's dead for whatever reason, so that's why it's kind of up to him to get back home. I've heard so many good things about this book. I've heard that it's really funny, which I don't know, every once in a while I do enjoy a funny book for sure. I'd say like once a year I read a good sci-fi book, and then I'm like, that's enough for me, that's enough. But I like it. I like my one book, and I think this is my one sci-fi book for the year, maybe, who knows. This next one has possibly been on my shelf the longest. I think I purchased this in 2014, and I still have not read it. So that would be The Perks of Being a Wallflower. And this is a signed copy, which is super cool. If you don't know, The Perks of Being a Wallflower is about a boy named Charlie, I believe, and it's about his experience going through high school. Yeah, about the uncharted territory of high school with new friends, sex, drugs, etc. I have seen the movie actually, but that was years ago, so I've kind of forgotten most of it, so that's why I think I'm perfectly primed to read this book this year. A lot of people I know and respect their reading preferences love this book. I've always thought I would enjoy it, but it's just taken me a long time to get around to it. But I finally think I'm in the headspace to tackle it. I have a good feeling about it. And then we have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Brontë. And I have a super cool illustrated edition. Yeah, so that is making it more exciting to read already. But people have been telling me I'm gonna love Jane Eyre, and I believe them. I was planning on reading this in December as a buddy read with Aaron Reads, but we both just got too busy, so hopefully we will still do a buddy read and get to it pretty soon. Don't know when, but it will happen this year, and I'm pretty sure I will be giving it 5 stars. We'll see. I forgot to say what it's about, but I actually have no clue what Jane Eyre is about. I know there's a woman, and I know something about an attic. That's all I know. But it's a classic, so you probably know. And if you don't, then I don't know either, so. Next up is a fun one. It's a little bit outside of my comfort zone because this is a short story collection. And that would be Shit Cassandra Saw by Gwen E. Kirby. And look at this cover design. How fun is this? So I am 100% positive that this will be a 5-star read for me. And I know that because I have actually read one of the short stories in here, and it's the titular story, Shit Cassandra Saw. I think the full title is Shit Cassandra Saw That She Didn't Tell the Trojans Because at that point, fuck them anyway. I think that's what it is. It's a pretty long title. I read that in my first fiction writing class in college, first semester freshman year, and it absolutely blew me away. I ended up doing one of my design projects on it. We were tasked with designing a magazine around either an article or a short story, so I picked that short story and I designed this super cool magazine that I'm really proud of. And I actually sent it to Gwen E. Kirby, and she responded some really nice things about it. And then a few years later, I ended up meeting her at a reading and got to talk to her about the story face to face, and that's where I bought this copy of the book, but I still haven't read it yet, so definitely want to be supporting her, and yeah, I'm just really excited to get into it. I don't know that I've ever actually fully read a short story collection, so I'm really excited about this and hoping to read some novellas as well, but I don't know which yet. Actually, I do, because I think the next book is a novella. And that would be Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. I'm pretty sure this is a novella because it is quite short, but I don't know that for certain, but I'm pretty sure. I'm like 95% sure. Carmilla is one of the first, if not the first, vampire story that predated Dracula. It says the cult classic that inspired Dracula. But unlike Dracula, in Carmilla, the vampire is a woman. And I believe there is some sapphic tendency in it. Maybe lesbian vampires? I don't actually know because I haven't read it, but that's what I've heard. I know something like that happens. Immediately consider me intrigued. If you don't know, I am an absolute vampire fiend. It's kind of criminal that I haven't read this one yet, but I actually haven't read Dracula either, so I'm catching up on my reading, you could say. I've heard great things about this one. My boyfriend got me this copy for Christmas because he says I absolutely need to read it because I love it, so feeling that 5-star vibe here. And then the final book I have in my 2024 5-star predictions is Bunny by Mona Awad. I have been meaning to read this book for so long. I think it was in my fall TBR last year, but of course I did not get around to it. But this book is just so up my alley. I know it has a lot of mixed opinions, like you either love it or hate it, but I'm just so confident that I'm gonna love it, and I really hope it doesn't let me down. Bunny follows these students who go to some elite university in New England, and I think the bunnies are a sort of like popular hot girl clique, sort of like Heathers maybe? I think that's the vibe. And the main character, Samantha, gets invited to join the bunnies, but I think it's a cult vibe, or I've heard that it's a very unreliable narrative. You don't really know what's actually happening and what's not, and that is just, whew, that is so enticing. I love books like that. Yeah, I really do think I'm gonna enjoy it. So hopeful. So 2024 is the year I finally have a copy, and yeah, I will be reading it. So there you have it. Those are my 5-star predictions for 2024. I am feeling like it's gonna be such a great reading year. If you didn't see my last video where I talk about my thoughts on like the Goodreads reading challenge, first of all, you should go watch that. But basically, I am trying to set a lower goal so that there's less pressure on myself. So my goal is to just read 24 books this year. It's like 2 books a month, and I think I've already read 3 in January. So yeah, hopefully no pressure, and I just read a lot of good books. I'm hoping to get a little bit outside of my comfort zone this year, more memoirs, more short story collections, and of course, some longer books. I mentioned that I kind of have this like aversion to picking a book over like 300 pages because I want to complete my reading goal quickly, so I tend to just pick a lot of short books. But this is the year I'm letting go of that, even though I think the longest predicted book I have is Jane Eyre, but I'll be finishing the ACOTAR series, which are quite long. If I finally read The Perks of Being a Wallflower, then I could read his other book, Imaginary Friend, which is quite large, but I've been wanting to read this one for so long, but I've like told myself I can't read it until I finally read The Perks of Being a Wallflower. So maybe this will be a 2025 5-star read. Feeling good about it, and again, thank you guys so much for supporting me and my channel. I have a lot of exciting things coming up in the new year. I feel like I've been saying it for so long that I am a graphic designer, so I also incorporate design into my videos, but I haven't yet. But hopefully, I think my next video will be graphic design related, book cover design related. So, exciting things to come, and I hope you will follow along. You know, you could like subscribe or whatever, I don't know, maybe like or comment, like if you want to. Please let me know your 5-star predictions in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.